Good day to all, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Extremely thankful to be able to have classes again with everyone. I am the Dharma assistant Chiu Yun from Malaysia. So just a gentle reminder, so those who have just came online, please be reminded to turn on your camera and also to rename yourself as your Dharma name. So recently, if you have watched the recent Grandmaster's Dharma talks, you will know that Grandmaster's body is not in the most ideal condition. So there is an activity to recite the Mahabala mantra, starting from 20th April. So please, we welcome all to join this activity and to dedicate the merits to our Grandmaster for his health and longevity. So there are various group cultivation sessions that you can join. So if you have, so we welcome all to go online to participate and record the number of recitations of the Mahabala mantra.
那我们在这里就和大家再一次打招呼，看到留言区很多人打招呼了。
Yep, so the event is the True Buddha Foundation initiates 2023 Praying for the Grandmaster event. So it runs from April 20th to June 20th. So True Buddha disciples worldwide will chant the Mahabala Heart Mantra to dedicate the merits to Grandmaster's health and well-being. So just to say hi to everyone. So it seems that our lecturer today, Master Lianyi, is here online. We also see our education director, Master Lianha, already online. Good day to masters. All right, just a gentle reminder. Today similarly we will have a question and answer session at the end of today's class. So please feel free to leave your questions. So you can directly unmute yourself to ask the questions at the end of the session, or you can leave your questions with us in the chat box. Yep. So feel free to leave any queries, any clarifications you might need in the chat box, or you may unmute yourself at the end of today's class to clarify your doubts. So we still have another 3 more minutes before class begins. So just an announcement on the group cultivation sessions. So we encourage all to join our group cultivation sessions, and also if you we encourage everyone to recite the Mahabala heart mantra at home to dedicate merits to Grandmaster. So after you have recited the Mahabala heart mantra, feel free to go online to register the number of recitations that you have made so that we can tally the total number. So we have submitted. Yep. Sorry. So the link. So we see our chairman, Master Chengzhu, online also. Good day to Master Chengzhu. So yeah, the link to register and record the number of recitations of the Mahabala heart mantra is already sent in the chat box. So today we have Feng Li Zhujiao, who is doing the Indonesian interpretation, and also myself, who is doing the English interpretation today. So we have many disciples online today who is joining us for this class. Good to see everyone. So before we start class, let us put our palms together and pay homage to our living Buddha Lianyi, our Grandmaster, as well as the past lineage gurus of True Buddha School, all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Dharma protectors of the shrine. Please form the Padma Kumara Mudra and recite the Padma Kumara mantra. Om Guru Lian Shen Siddhi Hom. 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 So again, we welcome our lecturer today, Master Lianyi. uh, Chairman Master Cheng Zhu, Education Director Master Lian He, PR Director Master Lian Jia, Master Lian Fei, and all Masters, Senior Reverends, Reverends, DI, and DAs, and fellow disciples on YouTube and Zoom. A good day to everyone. So we have a special thanks to today's interpreters. We have myself who's from Singapore, as well as the Indonesian interpreter, Feng Li Zhujiao from Indonesia. So today let us continue listening to Master Lian Yi, and today's class will be on the armor protection practice. Welcome Master Lian Yi, please. All right. Let us sincerely pay homage to our root lineage guru, Living Buddha Lian Sheng, past lineage gurus of True Buddha School, or Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Dharma protectors of the shrine. All right, Honorable Chairman Master Cheng Zhu, Education Director Master Lian Ha, PR Director Master Lian Jia, Master Lian Fei, all masters, senior reverends, Dharma instructors, Dharma assistants, and fellow disciples, and the hosts, Shiving Zhujiao, and all fellow disciples. Good day to everyone. Amidaba. So today we'll be continuing our the class. We'll be continuing on the topic of the True Buddha Tantra and Chapter 2, a detailed exposition of the complete Tantric sadhanas. And today we'll be talking about the armor protection practice. But before we go there, we will have a small recap. So for the first question, for the Fourfold Refuge within the True Buddha Tantra, how is the power of reliance generated? So you can type your answer in the chat box. So I think one Lao Zong Shixiang has got it right in the chat box. So yes, the answer is by relying on one's lineage and by relying on one's root guru. Second question. The most important part of Fourfold Refuge, the root of taking refuge, begins with which word? Faith, comprehension, practice, or attainment. So which word does it begin with? So we see many responses in the chat box. Yes. So yes, it starts with the word faith. So faith is the root of all. So question 3. What is the crux of the Fourfold Refuge practice? So the crux, the most important point is taking refuge in the root guru. Sorry. So the fourth question, Sutrayana practices rely on the Dharma but not the cultivator. What do Tantrayana practices rely on? So the answer is, so some have answered taking refuge in the root guru. However, this is talking more about the difference between Sutrayana and Tantrayana. So the answer should be Tantrayana practices rely on both the Dharma and the cultivator. So in Tantrayana, you need to cultivate both the outer tantras and the inner tantras. So for the inner tantras, most inner tantras require the root guru to transmit to the cultivators directly. So we'll move on to today's preface. In almost every cultivation practice of the true Buddha school, there is a sadhana for armor protection practice. So armor protection is a preventive measure against maras, and it's also a type of Vajra visualization. So Jinggang or Vajra means a kind of strength. It is able to overcome all evil. So armor protection is a method to protect against maras, which protects a cultivator and eliminates all hindrances and tests from the maras. So as the Chinese proverb goes, when one's virtue is 1 foot tall, the devil is 10 foot tall. When one's virtue is 10 foot tall, the devil is on one's head. So I'm sure everyone in their journey of cultivation, when you have reached a certain stage, you will notice that there are some um, obstacles and tests you will encounter with. So this is something that we should not take lightly. So maras come specially to hinder the cultivator. So there's a story about Milarepa. So there was once when Milarepa he he returned to his cave. So he found out that there was a Mara in the cave. So Milarepa used methods of subjugation to subjugate this Mara, but this Mara did not leave. So he then thought, since the Mara did not leave, then I shall praise the Mara and make offerings to the Mara. However, even with this, the Mara still did not leave. Lastly, Milarepa simply, what method did he use in the end? So he was thinking, oh, the Mara is merely an illusion. So he just simply thought that of this Mara as not being there. So with the thought that the Mara was not there, he walked into the cave, and indeed the Mara was no longer there. So this method that Milarepa used to overcome this Mara is no mind. So the Mara is also a kind of an illusion. So if in your mind you believe that a Mara exists, then they will come and disturb you. So it is many things is because of one's mind. So it's easy to guard against external Maras, but difficult to defend against internal Maras. So there's also this very famous American high wire performer, tightrope walker. So he was known throughout the whole world for his spectacular and steady performance. So this person was called Walenda. So he was a tightrope walker, and he was known for this he was known throughout the whole world for this. So in 1978, he decided to give his last performance. So after this performance, he was going to retire. So he gave a lot of importance to this show, and many famous people were coming to see the show. So one day before the show, before the actual performance, he had a very he had a very special he was he had a unusual attitude. So he kept saying that the show was very important. I cannot afford to fail because many famous people are looking at me. So this is what he was thinking throughout the entire day, one day before the performance. So in the event, so on the day itself, on the day of the performance itself, even though he has walked on the tightrope for so many years without any mistake, he actually lost his life on that day in this very important major performance. So this psychologists name this mentality of always worrying about gains and losses as as the Wallander effect. So after this incident happened, they actually interviewed his wife. His wife said, "I knew something was going to happen this time because before the performance, he kept saying this performance is really important. I cannot fail. However, in the past, before every successful performance, he didn't think so much. He only thought about walking the tightrope and nothing else. However, before this very fateful performance, he was thinking about not about other things apart from just purely walking the tightrope. So this is a mentality. This mentality, psychologists name as the Wallander effect. So this is So for us cultivators, we have to monitor our mentality. So our mentality is extremely important. So we have to monitor our mentality, our thoughts. If we any negative, unwholesome thoughts surface, we should be aware of them. So yeah, so it is easy to guard against external maras, but it's difficult to defend against our own against internal maras. So Living Buddha, Grandmaster said, Mara is always by your side. From the beginning, when one starts cultivation till enlightenment, Maras will interfere. Maras are also very fond of interfering with diligent cultivators. This is why tantric cultivators must practice armor protection to protect oneself. Armor protection can be described as a method to restrain oneself and maintain vigilance. It is a practice of self-control. On the contrary, becoming a Mara or going astray is losing self-control. So, so I have previously mentioned it is the same for cultivators. So it's because of our own mind that we kind of attract the Mara to disturb us. So many disciples have similar thinking. So many disciples are so they think, oh, before I take refuge, I didn't meet with such obstacles. However, once I started cultivation, it seems like there's a lot of obstacles I meet with. So Buddha and Mara is the direct opposite of each other. So Grandmaster has also said Maras allow us to go beyond ourselves. So Maras will often test cultivators so that cultivators can overcome them and grow and yeah and grow. So there was a cultivator. So he lived in solitude in the mountains for many years. So one day he decided that he wanted to develop bodhisattva. And how do you want to go about doing this? So he wanted to do some good deeds benefiting sentient beings. So he realized it was very tough for some elderly who went up the mountains every day to pay homage to the Buddha. So there was a temple um in the mountains. So some elderly will go up every day to up the mountains to pay homage to the Buddha at the temple. So he was thinking that it was very tough for these elderly because they had to go all the go up the mountains. So then he decided he would piggyback these elderly up the mountain. So one day he was carrying an old woman on his back up the mountain. So he had not made it far when the old woman asked him, Cultivator, what is your name? To which he replied, I am Leng Hui. So Leng Hui, so Hui is literally translated to gray. And then the old woman asked him, so Leng is translated to coal and Hui is gray, means gray. So the old woman asked him, why are you called Leng Hui? So he replied, before I was ordained, I had a very bad temper. After I was ordained, my master gave me the name Leng Hui in hopes that I can remain calm, cool and calm. So after walking a short distance, the old woman asked him the same question again. So then he replied, uh, I am called Leng Hui because before I was ordained, I had a very bad temper, etc. etc. So he gave the same explanation. So after a while, the old woman asked him the question again. So this went on for a few more times. So he just back and forth, back and forth. And until the cultivator got impatient, until Leng Hui got impatient and his bad temper surfaced. So he said, Granny, it is hard enough for me to piggyback you up the mountains, but you keep asking the same question again and again and again. So after he said that, the old woman suddenly disappeared. And then in the void, there was a very majestic Guan Yin Pusa, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. who told the cultivator,
20年，
Leng Hui's heart isn't
这
cold,
个老婆婆就
cultivate for
开始
12 more years.
变化出来，
So this old
啊，
granny was
她是
actually
修行人的，
uh
所以我说这个故
Guan Yin
事
Pusa
给我们
who came to
都要
test this cultivator.
提醒自己，很多时候呢，
So from this story, we have
的
to
确
remind ourselves regularly.
觉得是不好的话呢，那么它就变成你的一个烦恼。
If we find that something is not good, it will become a kind of a trouble, an affliction to us. So if we meet with people who do not treat us well,
疏远，那么
we have to treat them as
提升自己。而很多时候说
a good affinity
我
kind of
我们修行人有时人家对我们不好，他的习性坏脾
yeah.
气，我们
So when we meet with people
好
who
难顶啊。
when we meet with people who do not treat us well, we have to think of them as 观音菩萨 sent to test us.
这个故事它的重
Yep,
点
so we should keep in mind this story. What is the moral of this
讨
story?
厌修行人呐，你就要想一想那
So we
个
have to treat
就是观音菩萨，
such people who do not treat us well uh,
不会生气观
as
世
people who
音菩
also
萨
help us
不会
along
你
with
就想
our cultivation. So if you think of them as 观世音菩萨, as Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva sent to help us with our cultivation, then we will not have any kind of negative thoughts against these people. We need to be able to transform, to shift our perspective. Then our cultivation will gradually improve.
很有它的道理。
So I think that this story has its own its moral.
其实真的自我
So Grandmaster has also talked about self-control.
都要知道
So it's extremely important self-control we have at every
修行
point of
什么
time.
事情都没有发生的。
So cultivation does not mean that we do not meet with any phenomenon, nothing happens. It does not mean that.
因为你
So,
你
however,
你
when you
自己
cultivate, you are able to
所以呢
perceive, you are able to
你
observe.
看
You have
别
the
人
power of perception and
身边
observe
发生的事情
observance, and
你
you
在
can
这
be
句话
you are able to
所
easily
所
discern what
行
is
的
happening
都
around you.
很容易
So
理解
a single thought, a
所以有
a
时候
single
我觉得
action by
我觉
others,
得
you will
自
know
我
what
控制
is
自我
happening.
控
So
制就是说要能够超越这些你所看到的一切。你
so
不超
self-control
越
means
那
to
么
be
全
able
部
to
都
overcome what
是
you have
在
seen,
无理修行。我
uh,
很喜欢
what you see. So
张
even though
大
it
千
may not be
他讲一句话很好，他说这个画家张大千，他说身为一个画家
okay, so
画
there's
画
this
的
story
人呢
about
就是上帝。
the artist
我
Zhang
这
Daqian.
句话你觉得好
So
像
he
很
said something like
可是
this.
呢，你慢慢
When an
去想
artist
这一句
is
话，其实有
sorry.
它的道理。他说我画画的时候，
So he has a saying. So
他下雨他就下雨，
the saying goes, when an artist is painting, he is God. He has the ability to create everything. If he wants it to rain in the painting, then it rains.
这个就
If he
是
wants the
他的
sun to
性
come out in the
就是
painting,
这
then
样
the
子
sun comes out.
啊。
So
所以这
creation
句话我觉
is
得
in
真
his
的
own
真
hands
的
and
很
is
好
not
很有
affected
道
by
理。
external
而且
factors.
他能够
So
控
this
制自己
is
的心，能够
this is
把
a show
他
of
自己
how
的
he is able to
心来
control,
表达出来。
exert self-control on his
其实呢，
own
其实就是我们所有修行人
mind.
心能够转化
So
环
this
境，
is actually
被环境带着我们走。这个就是一
so
个
as
很
cultivators, this
有道
actually
理。
is quite similar to us cultivators.
那么有时
So
我们去控制
our mind is not
去控制，
to not
但
let
是
the
当你
external
的
factors affect
你
our
的你
mind.
的心呢，已经已经
So
一
the
片，
next part is
那
talking
么
about
呢，
losing
你
self-control.
如
So
果没有机
what
会
is losing
是
self-control?
由外面的环境来
So losing self-control is converse is opposite to having
这
self-control.
就是你
So
自己的
you
力量。
allow
好像
losing
我
self-control
我
means you
我
allow
我看到
external
的事情，
factors
做到现在，
the surroundings to
我
affect
都喜欢
your own
这个
mind.
就是打 game 的一个
Whereas
游戏。
self-control
一
means
个
that you have
人
control over your own mind,
每天很
as
努力，
illustrated by the story of the
但是呢，他
of
把
the artist
他
Zhang
能够
Daqian.
控制自己，他从晚上就是一直打到天亮。有一
So
次
there's this story about
他一直打
in
到
20,
天
sorry
亮，
not story
打了多少时间？
in 2022 there was actually a 20-year-old youth in Taiwan. He was found dead in a chair
他
after
一直
playing
打
games
结
for
果
20 hours
他
straight in an
打的
internet cafe.
打
So
不
he
动，
was
而且呢，
yep.
心脏
So
也停了。
his limbs were stiff, his eyes were still glued to the computer screen, and his hands were still resting on the keyboard. He had been dead for some time, but it seemed like this happened without any warning. So why did this happen? So it's probably he played video games for 23 hours straight. So it is so when you play computer games, it is quite normal to be under amount of a quite significant amount of excitement and stress, and under such situation, it's easy for one to lose self-control, to go astray, to deviate from the path. So this is a kind of an example of someone losing self-control. So let us continue how to perform the armor protection practice. So first, perform the Vajra Mudra and put. So from the Vajra Mudra, you put your palms together, interlace your fingers, and place it at your bro chakra. Second is to recite the Vajrapani mantra, Om Puridanjali. So this mudra, so bring the mudra to touch the brow point, then the throat chakra, heart chakra, left shoulder and right shoulder, then return it back to the brow point to disperse the mudra. So at the moment, so at the moment of dispersing the mudra, visualize the Vajrapani Bodhisattva transforming into 4 bodies, with one of them in front of the cultivator, another behind the practitioner, and another to the left and the right of the cultivator. So such visualization is of paramount importance and is the ultimate secret to the armor protection practice. So so when we do our visualization, we visualize the Vajrapani Bodhisattva, which is shown on the screen right now. It's extremely majestic. So Vajrapani Bodhisattva will be at the cultivator's front, back, left and right to protect the cultivator. Yep, so visualize the Dharma protector at one's shrine, transforming to guard oneself during cultivation, situated in front, behind, to the left and right of oneself. So this is protection from Maras and is called the power of protection. So although armor protection looks very simple, it is very powerful. So the mudra for the armor protection practice is not only a Vajra mudra, but it's also the common mudra for the Vajra deities. So you can see Master Lianyi showing the mudra on the screen. So other boundary protection visualization. So if a cultivator forms the mudra of Yamantaka, then they should recite the Yamantaka mantra and visualize Yamantaka. So the Yamantaka mantra goes Om Zuli Kana Rupa Hom Kan Soha. So if the cultivator forms the mudra of Chakra Samvara, then they should recite the Chakra Samvara mantra. So the Chakra Samvara mudra is the Chakra Samvara mantra goes Hom Se Ha Ha Hom Hom Pe. Excuse me. So if the cultivator forms the mudra of Hivajra, then they should recite the Hivajra mantra and visualize Hivajra. So you can see Master Lianyi demonstrating the Hivajra mudra on the screen. And the mantra is Om Deva Pitu Vajra Hom 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 Vaja Soha. So if the cultivator forms the mudra of Kala Chakra, then they should recite the Kala Chakra mantra and visualize Kala Chakra. So Master Lianyi is again showing the Kala Chakra mudra on the screen. Yes. So the Kala Chakra mantra goes Om Ha Kamala Valaya Soha. So if a cultivator forms a mudra of Uchusma, then they should recite the Uchusma mantra and visualize Uchusma. So the mudra for Uchusma mudra is a bit difficult to form. Master Lianyi is also showing on the screen right now. So the mantra goes Om Jiru Tu Om Jiru Durang Hom Ru. So this is so the armor protection practice is a flexible practice, and its use can be adapted to the situation at hand. So for any kind of practice, the application should be flexible and adapted to the situation at hand. So Grandmaster has said when a practitioner practices, when a cultivator practices the armor protection, a Vajra Dharma protector will appear from the consciousness of the universe, and this Dharma protector will always protect the cultivator during cultivation from all matters and be available whenever needed. Yep, so this Vajra Dharma protector will always protect the cultivator during cultivation and from all matters and be available whenever needed. So in our daily lives, we have to so every day we have to make offerings to our Dharma protector. So what offerings do Dharma protectors like? So they like our alcohol and meat. So it's good to be able to make offerings. So if you can drink alcohol, you can take the alcohol, a little bit of the alcohol after you have after you have offered it to the Vajra protector. If you can't drink, you can dab a bit on your lips. So this is a kind of so this will aid in forming affinity with the Vajra protector. So in doing so, the Dharma protector will be able to give you certain signs during your cultivation. So you have to form this kind of this connection with your Dharma protector, your Vajra protector. So you choose the Dharma protector or you choose the Vajra protector which you have most affinity with. So this Dharma protector will protect you throughout during your cultivation and from all the metals. So Master Denny is sharing that he does this every day. He will make offerings to his Vajra protector and pray for the Vajra protector to protect him. So we must learn how to apply the armor protection practice in our daily lives. So when one recites Om Purilanjali 7 times on their clothes, they become armor. So reciting the same on their head transforms it into a protective helmet. So if cultivators know how to utilize this mantra adaptably, they will be protected by the Vajra protector, and they will not face any hindrances from Maras during cultivation. As such, every cultivator must learn the armor protection practice as a means of protection. This is extremely important. All right, so I think we have reached the section, the mini quiz section. We'll pass the time to Liyan Zhujiao to bring us through the mini quiz Q&A section.
准备好这一个呢，我们同样的，我们都有2个环节。这个是
similarly, we have the mini quiz in 2 parts. So yeah, you can go to www.menti.com and key in the code.
直接按这个不同频道的连接，那给大家
I think the link to the different channels is posted in the chat. You can go ahead to click on the link.
请大家抓紧机会哦。这个环节呢，它的好处的是可以帮助我们去提回刚刚联谊上师所教导我们的这些内容，来帮助我们在让我们的记忆更加坚固。
So this part is will benefit our memory. So it allows us to recap what was just recently taught, so that we can retain it better in our memory. So please, hope everyone will take part in this. Let us all come together to recap what Master Lianyi has taught just earlier. So is everyone in yet? All right, so we will start.
第一条，披甲不生中，哪一项是错误的用处？
So the first question is, which of the following is the incorrect purpose of armor protection?
障碍及模考。
A is protect cultivators during practice. B is eliminate obstacles and tests from Maras. And C is help cultivators prosper in their careers. So which of the following is the incorrect purpose of armor protection?
全部都答对了答案是 C。
So the answer is C. Yes, seems that everyone got the question correct. So the second question, moving on to the second question.
护身法的手印 A 无为印 B 莲花手印 C 金刚合掌。
Please select the mudra for armor protection practice. A, fearlessness mudra, B, lotus mudra, and C, vajra mudra. So which is the mudra for armor protection practice?
啊，答案是 C。
So the answer is C.
看看下中文榜有谁参与
So
的
let us take a look and see on the Chinese
最高分有是谁呢？那中文榜我们有
on the Chinese channel who has got the most points. Yeah, so the scoreboard is on the screen right now.
这个我们的英文是有
神秘人啊，恭喜神秘人。
英文是 OJX。
啊 ，OJ 啊，恭喜你啊 ，OJX。
So on the English channel, we have OJX who has got the most points.
看一下有谁呢？目前是
So what about on the Indonesian channel? So we have Betty who has got the most point on the Indonesian version of the quiz. So we hand the time back to Master Lianyi. So we see everyone later for part 2. Thank you everyone. So let us continue.
做臂甲护身。
When to perform armor protection? So in the process of cultivation, cultivators will meet with hindrances caused by Maras. So Maras are fond of disturbing cultivators. The armor protection practice is akin to the armor warriors wore in ancient times to protect themselves from swords during a war. So if one practices the armor protection practice before they start cultivation, they are protected by the power of Buddhas, and it will not be easy for Maras to invade. Hence, one will then succeed in their cultivation. So, when Maras wants to test cultivators, they will observe the cultivators first. They will observe what the cultivator likes, what kind of habits the cultivator actually have. So because Maras have a little bit of power, so they are able to do that. So for example, some cultivators they like fame, they like reputation, they like to have a good reputation. So then the Mara will use this against them. They will use this to test the cultivator. So sometimes Grandmaster will mention the origin of a particular person, or if they are the reincarnation of a certain Buddha or Bodhisattva. So these cultivators, when they will they are very happy to be kind of acknowledged in a sense by a Grandmaster.
而是他自己以为他真的是这个某某菩萨转世，而他起了这个功高我慢的心。
So so these cultivators will slowly develop arrogance because of this. Because they are often praised by other fellow disciples. Oh, Grandmaster has said you have a very good you are the reincarnation of a certain Buddha or Bodhisattva. So this will get into their minds, and slowly they will start to become arrogant. So this is actually a kind of test from Maras. So they will slowly become arrogant. So Master Lianyi is saying that if you are truly the reincarnation of a certain Buddha and Bodhisattva, you will not develop this kind of arrogance, because you will be even more aware of your thoughts, and fame or reputation will not be at the forefront of what you pursue. It will be more of cultivation and developing Bodhisattva, etc. So this is how we can observe whether someone is truly the reincarnation of a certain Buddha or Bodhisattva. So having fame or a good reputation is not necessary a bad thing, because sometimes it can help with in the process of liberating, helping other sentient beings. So I think this is a story about a doctor who was extremely well known. So this doctor said usually he will, there are many patients who come to this doctor because he's quite well known, and so he prescribes medicine to these people who approach him. So this doctor is sharing that, however, if he has a certain affinity with some patients, he would share the Buddha Dharma with them and advise these patients to recite the High King Sutra, because most of their ailments are because of maybe their past karma. So yeah, so this is how the doctor has made use of, made use of kind of his fame and his reputation to help other sentient beings. So another example is so we all know the dragon robe worn by Grandmaster has immense blessing power. So some disciple, they are aware of this. So some disciples are aware of this fact. So they have made use of this fact to because they are aware of this fact, they are thinking, oh, how can I make more money? How can I profit off this? So there was a disciple who fabricated many dragon robes, forged Grandmaster's signature on these dragon robes, and sold them to fellow disciples. So this is actually this actually goes against our Tantrayana precepts. The first one, it goes against so this is kind of wrongful selling of what belongs to the Tathagatas. It is actually against the precepts. So instead of doing such things, we should invest our money, our wealth in more to help the sentient more to help sentient beings. So another common another point where Another aspect where Maras would try to take advantage of is lust, because lust is many people's weakness. So this is a true story. So there was a disciple who went to China for business, and in this kind of situations, in this kind of occasions, drinking and socializing is inevitable. So his good friend, good friend who is also a fellow disciple, yeah, he is aware of this, so he warned this person to be careful, and then to which the person replied, there's no need to be afraid. I have 不动明王 Asala protecting me.
因为你失去一个真念了，你起了一个不好的念头，所以呢，最后是什么情况呢？
So what happened in the end? So eventually he brought home a mistress and ended up divorcing his wife. So you have to be aware that Vaja protectors, they offer protection to people who have the right view, so, and not just anyone. So in what kind of places do we need to form, okay, so apart from practicing armor protection during cultivation, if we are visiting certain places, we need to perform the armor protection practice as well. So for example, when we go into the hospital, the reasons why many patients fall sick is due to spiritual afflictions caused by entangled spirits or ghosts. Before cultivators visit patients at hospitals, they should perform armor protection to avoid spiritual disturbances. So these are the kind of events that it is better to perform the armor protection practice before we go to that either place or event. So the first is hospitals, the second is weddings. So spirits of deceased ancestors will participate in the wedding of their descendants. So the yin energy is very strong. So we should perform armor protection practice as well. So also when we go to funerals, spirits of deceased ancestors will also be present to welcome the souls of their descendants. As such, the yin energy is also wrong. So some disciples have asked, what if we can't do it in time? What if it's a very sudden situation, we can't do it in time? So Master Lianyi has said that, you can visualize. Yeah, you can do a visualization. So the next venue is slaughterhouses. Because they are places where killings take place, there are many wrong spirits. So it is necessary to perform armor protection first. So also to cinemas, because cinemas are very dim and many wandering spirits like to go there. So it's necessary to perform this armor protection first. So just keep in mind when we're doing armor protection, we are just protecting ourselves. And we are not going there to subjugate these spirits. So just keep in mind it is protecting ourselves so that they cannot disturb us. So so the last place is brothels. So these places have many lustful spirits. It is best not to go, but if you do, perform armor protection first. So Master Lianyi is advising that it is really better not to go. So it will be bad if these spirits get attached to you. So for the places above, if you are so for the places above that we have just mentioned, not only must we perform armor protection, we can also recite the 100-syllable mantra. So this mantra will not only benefit the cultivator, but also sentient beings or wandering spirits. So we can also recite the short version of the 100-syllable mantra. So next, armor protection can also be used widely in our everyday life. For example, when it comes to food, so form the mudra, visualize imprinting the mudra on the food, then recite the mudra and purify the food. To purify the food. So it's a type of visualization to purify the food. So for clothing, you can form the mudra, visualize imprinting the mudra on your clothes, and then recite the mantra. So for clothing,
我们经常好像我们穿袈裟啊，或者穿法衣的时候呢，有时我们不是用这个披甲护身印啊，用这个好像是无为印啊，就是在那个衣服在上面啊。
so when we wear
也是念7天，然后
so we wear our Dharma robes, we can do the same thing. We can form the fearlessness mudra and then recite the mantra 7 times and visualize our Vajra protector protecting us. So this is also a kind of boundary protection. So for living quarters, we can form the mudra, visualize imprinting the mudra on the 4 walls of the house, then recite the mantra. This forms a kind of boundary protection, preventing any spirits from entering. So apart from armor protection, we can also do the 4 boundary protection. 是从姐姐的 4 boundary 4 boundary protection. So this is the 4 boundary protection is more ideal for forming a boundary protection around your living quarters. Yeah, so you start with the 4 金刚诀 at the 4 corners of your house, and then you end with the Vajra fire on the boundary of your living quarters. So transportation as well. So you can form the mudra, visualize imprinting the mudra on cars, ships, airplanes, motorbikes, bicycles, then recite the mantra for safety and avoidance from any calamities. Yep. So before we leave the house, before we want to go out, we can do the armor protection to form a kind of a boundary protection around ourselves. So be it 1,000 dharmas or 10,000 dharmas, it is all within one's mind. As long as one is sincere, with us, bodhisattvas will feel it and respond. So learning the Buddha Dharma includes both theory and putting these theories into actual practice. So we must be able to apply the Dharma in our everyday lives. So we must be able to apply into our daily life according to the situation at hand. So there's another story. So Grandmaster has actually said before, all dharmas are transformed and manifested by the mind alone. The Tantric practitioner should learn to practice no phenomenon, no mind. So this is the highest dharma for overcoming maras. So everything comes from the mind. So this is a story about old monk, old Reverend Guangqing. He has so the old monk Guangqing, he lived in solitude in the mountains for 13 years. So after these 13 years, he returned to his the temple, and the temple is called Chengtian Temple. So when he returned to the temple, he thought that everyone was being respectful to him. However, not long after he returned to the temple, okay, so the Reverend Guangqing was also known as Reverend Guang. So after Reverend Guang returned to the Chengtian Temple, not shortly after he returned, the temple supervisor said that the incense money that was in the main hall had disappeared. So everyone in the temple was thinking, before Reverend Guang returned to the temple, the incense money had never disappeared. But just not long after the Reverend Guang returned, the incense money actually disappeared. Yeah, so everyone thought of how Reverend Grant sat and meditated in the main hall day and night and concluded he must be the one who took the incense money. So since then, everyone in the entire temple, whenever they entered the main hall or met the Reverend, they rolled their eyes. They were not they were disrespectful towards Reverend Grant. But throughout this entire throughout this entire incident, Reverend Guang did not say a word. So after a week, the temple supervisor finally stepped forward to clear things up. So he said that this incense money actually had not disappeared. It was just a plan that the temple supervisor came up with together with another reverend to test Reverend Guang to see what kind of character he had developed after his 13 years of seclusion. However, Reverend Guang was steadfast. He knew he was not responsible for the act. So after this incident, after the temple supervisor cleared things up, all of them in the temple highly revered the Reverend Guang. So this goes to show sometimes if you if you are pure at heart, you will not be affected by what others say about you, what is going on in the external surroundings. Yep, so there's also another story about this the artist that we mentioned earlier, Zhang Daqian. So Zhang Daqian, he had a beard, he grew a very long beard. So one day a reporter specially asked him, Mr. Zhang, your beard is so long. Yeah, so your beard is so long. I just wanted to ask you, at night when you sleep, is your beard outside the blanket or tucked inside the blanket? So this question took the Mr. Zhang by surprise, and it stumped him. So actually when we go to sleep, we do not think so much. So when that night when Zhang Daqian was supposed to sleep, he was wondering whether his beard was outside or inside the blanket. So he kept thinking about this question throughout the entire night, and as a result, he could not sleep for the entire night. Yeah, so this is also so this goes to show sometimes we just live life as it is without any worry. But however, if we hear something that is said from others, we may be a bit affected, and so and that may affect our way of life. So no phenomenon, no mind does not mean that you have does not mean that nothing happens to you or you have no thoughts. It means that you do not it means that you do not focus on the phenomenon. You see it as an everyday you see it as a normal occurrence in life. So you do not harp on the event. Yeah. So the next part is armor protection practice before sleeping. The first is the auspicious posture on the bed, lying on your right when you sleep with your heart above. This is similar to the sleeping posture of a lion. Second is to silently recite the name of your guru or idam or your personal deity, your main deity. To recite the epithet of your guru and think of your guru blessing you, or think of yourself transforming into your guru in a sleeping position. Think of your idam, your personal deity blessing you. So Next is reciting the mantra. Silently recite in your heart. So just silent recitation is fine. Silently recite in your heart the guru or the personal deity's mantra 7 or 49 times. So visualization. Visualize your throat emitting a strong ray of red light towards the sky. So this very brilliant red light is like a mosquito net enveloping your entire self. You are sleeping within the red light. So this is the ultimate secret for the armor protection practice before sleeping. So to visualize yourself to visualize oneself in a lion posture, much like Buddha entering into parinirvana. Visualize oneself in a lion posture, body disappearing within rays of red light, and visualize oneself in a lion posture untainted. So there is also the simple 3-syllable mantra for armor protection. After lying down on the bed, first visualize both your big toes elongating. So your big toes elongating and extending far, and then combining to become the 5 prongs of a Vajradhoja. Then visualize the top of your head, which is where the crown chakra is, also elongating and becoming the next 5 prongs of a Vajradhoja. Yeah, so Master Lin is showing the 5 prongs of the Vajradhoja. Then your kneecaps also start to transform and become the 5 prongs of a doji. So the portion from the kneecaps upwards until the neck transforms to become a shape similar to the center part of the doji. Yep, so this is the portion between your neck and your kneecaps transforming to become a shape similar to the center part of the doji. And then your entire body has been, so this is transforming your entire body into a Vajradhoja. So after you have visualized, once you have visualized clearly, recite the 3-syllable mantra, Lang Yang Kang, either 3 times, 7 times, 21 times, 49 times, 108 times, or until you fall asleep. So in this way, it will be a Vajradhoja sleeping on the bed. So so in this way, you will not be susceptible to any kind of disturbances. So the Vajradhoja is a treasure that can destroy all maras or evil. So in the 3-syllable mantra, Lang Yang Kang, the Lang represents being steadfast or firm. The cultivator will become very strong, becoming a Vajradhoja lying on the bed where no maras will invade. So this is the easiest practice for cultivating the power of protection. It is very good to cultivate this practice. Apart from being strong, one will have longevity too. So not only you can protect yourself, you can also have longevity also. All right, so we have come to the second part of the second mini quiz Q&A part. I'll pass the time to Liyan Zhujiao to bring us through this section. So I'll just post. All right. All right. So the third question is, when should armor protection be performed? A, when slaughtering livestock. B, before cultivation practice. And C, when drinking and having fun.
B.
All right, so yes, the answer is B. Okay, the fourth question. Which is the 3-syllable mantra for armor protection? Which of the following is the 3-syllable mantra for armor protection? Is it A, Om Ahom, B, Lang Yang Kang, or C, Om Pulin?
Answer B.
Yes, so the answer is B. Alright, so let us see the scoreboard for the Chinese channel. So we have Dharma Dharma brother Lao Zong. So congratulations to brother Lao Zong. So let us take a look at the English channel. So we have OJX, who is the first. So congratulations. So for the Indonesian channel, we have I think it's Dharma sister Betty. Congratulations to Betty. So thank you everyone for your participation today, and congratulations to all who have gotten first place in the different channels. So we'll pass the time back to Master Lianyi. So the pith to armor protection. So the pith to armor protection is right mindfulness and right effort. Be it 1,000 dharmas or 10,000 dharmas, it is all within one's mind. As long as one is sincere, bodhisattvas will feel it and respond. Learning the Buddha Dharma includes both theory and putting these theories into actual practice. Yep, so there is theory and there's also actual practice. So we must know how we must have both. We must know the theory and also put these theories into actual practice. So the reasons why we lose our Dharma protectors. In Tantrayana, the practice of protection is very important. The reasons why we lose our Dharma protectors are nothing more than the first reason is the lack of diligent practice due to laziness or sluggishness. And the second is the loss of right mindfulness where one's actions and thoughts deviate from what is proper, therefore losing the blessing power of the lineage transmission. So losing loss of right mindfulness where one's thoughts deviate from what is proper. This is also a reason why we lose our Dharma protectors. So true practitioners will not be lazy. They are diligent in the cultivation of the body and mind, practicing at least one daily, maintaining regular progress with right mindfulness and proper conduct, and not deviating from what is proper. So there's this story about a poor monk and a rich monk. So there was one day the poor monk said to the rich monk, I want to go to Putuo Mountain in the South China Sea. What do you think? So the rich monk replied, how are you going? And then the poor monk replied, oh, all I need is just a bottle and a rice bowl. Then the rich man was in disbelief. He was saying, he said, the rich man said, I have been trying to hire a boat to go downstream for several years, but have not been able to do so. On what grounds do you know you can succeed? So in the next year, the poor monk returned from the South China Sea and recounted his experiences to the rich monk. So once the rich monk heard it, he was ashamed. He was surprised. So the story of the rich and monk and the poor monk actually demonstrates a the principle of diligence. So we have it's very common to see disciples saying, "Oh, let me wait. Let me have enough time before I start cultivating, before I start cultivation." So or some disciples will say, let me earn enough money first before I start cultivation. So so we should not do this. We should do it. We should cultivate every day, starting from the present moment. So Grandmaster has said this. So if you cultivate daily, if today you have cultivated, your your life will have great value. So yes, so yep, so we should so just by cultivating daily, your life has meaning, your life has value, has great value. So this is what Grandmaster has said. All right, so we continue.
因为真正的行者这个讲过了，真佛行者修的是真佛中的密法。
So true Buddha practitioners cultivate the true Buddha Tantra, upholding the true Buddha school. So in this way, they will never lose the lineage blessing. So application of Buddhist theories. Yep, so application of Buddhist theories are right mindfulness, right effort, and power of lineage blessings. These are the main piths. So in this way, cultivators will receive protection. So this is extremely important. So apart from diligently cultivating, you have to cultivate your wisdom as well. You should be able to so you should be also developing a right mindfulness to be able to discern whether what you are doing is right or wrong, whether your cultivation is progressing in the right direction. So yep, so right mindfulness and right effort, developing these two goes hand in hand together. So we've come to the brief summary for today. So when a cultivator practices the Dharma protection, a Vajra Dharma protector will appear from the consciousness of the universe. And this Vajra Dharma protector will always protect the cultivator during cultivation and from all matters and be available whenever needed. Cultivators must always invoke Vajra Dharma protectors. If they do not, the Vajra deities will leave and evil Maras will take advantage of this situation. So it's very important. So this is why we have to cultivate every day. We have to maintain a connection with our Vajra Dharma protectors. So then the Vajra Dharma protectors will be just right beside us protecting, and Maras will never have the chance to invade. So armor protection is also a practice of self-control, a method to remind ourselves to be vigilant. When one loses control, it is equivalent to going astray. As such, cultivators have to be careful. All right, lastly, just one more story before we end today's class. So Grandmaster has said in his Dharma talks before, for everything in this world, once we use the skill of transformation to transform it, to shift our perspective, everything becomes easier to do, becomes easier to accomplish. So yep, so this transformation or 转化 means to shift one's perspective. So there's this story. So there was once a person who wanted to end their life by jumping off a building because they met with many obstacles in their life. So yeah, so he was going to jump off his condominium, I think. So his family members tried to stop him, but to no avail. So afterwards, he had a good friend, the next door neighbor. So after they have exhausted all methods. So the next door neighbor, his very good friend, knew that the person who wanted to jump off the building, he liked to sing. So the neighbor sang to the person. He kept singing to the person, and because the person also liked singing, they both the person also sang along with the neighbor. So as they were singing, the person eventually forgot that he was going to jump off the building, and in the end he did not jump off the building. Yeah, so this is also a kind of like a shift in our position. Our Master Lianyi is saying is 转化. So this is how we can. This is also a very important aspect in our cultivation journey. Yeah. So knowing how to shift our perspective. So some disciples they meet with a lot of difficulties, they meet with a lot of obstacles, and they are very unhappy about their life. So Master Lianyi will advise them, think more positively. So if you meet with these obstacles, go to your shrine immediately, go to your altar immediately, and have a cultivation session. Yeah. So when you are unhappy, don't focus on the negative thoughts. The best method to overcome this, the best countermeasure is to go and recite mantras, to have a cultivation session. So why will this help? So it is kind of transforming your negative thoughts into the right mind into right mindfulness. So mantras and doing cultivation is a way to kind of obtain the brilliance, the light of the Buddhas. So all the more if you are unhappy, if you are upset, you have to go. It is good if you. It will be extremely beneficial if you can go recite some mantras and to have cultivate. So after a while, you'll find that you will have more positive thoughts. So so apart from people who are unhappy, people who are sick, who have a lot of illnesses, they should also recite mantras and also cultivate. So because these patients are very often they are very susceptible to negative thoughts because of their ailments, because of their sickness. So Master Lianyi advises that these people, when you recite, you are able to shift your negative thoughts to right mindfulness. And then as you recite, as you cultivate, your brilliance, your light will become stronger and stronger, brighter and brighter. It is kind of a form of blessing from the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. And slowly you will find that your sickness, your ailments, your illnesses will slowly, gradually recover. So our mindset is extremely important. So even if you are sick, you have to maintain a very positive mindset. So due to time constraint, so I will just end. We have come to the end of today's class. Amitabha to thank you, Master Lianyi, for today's class. Not only have we learned about the important parts of important points of the armor protection and also how we can apply it into our daily lives, and we also have heard many interesting stories. So not only have we learned about how to defend against external maras, we have also learn how to guard against our internal maras. So today's takeaways are extremely we have a lot of takeaways today. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat box. So then we can clarify these questions with or have Master Lianyi clarify these our doubts. So I think we have a few questions already in the chat box.
到了一个新的地方，常在该地方禅定静坐。请问同门，如到了山上或野外，如要在该地方禅定，应注意些什么呢？例如要做哪些前行或者后行？
这个是联合上师说的。那我的想法呢，其实
So I think the question is if we often if we go to a new place to meditate, what can we do? Yeah, so if we go to a new place to meditate, I think the example raised was such as in the mountains or in the wilderness. If we want to meditate at these places, what are the things that we should take note of? Should we, yeah, so Master Lianyi is saying that we can do a form of purification first, and then we can do the fourfold boundary protection. And most importantly, we have to visualize Grandmaster atop of our crown, blessing us, radiating light on us. And also we can recite the 祈请文。
然后再修法，我觉得这个希望能帮助你。
好，谢谢上师。那另外呢，
Yep.
美俄助教有帮忙 LINE 的同门问阿弥陀佛，请问上师，师佛在网络上与同门在 Zoom 上打招呼时，网络上的同门是否要起身？因为在网络上有看到同门是坐着的，是否师佛只要站起来，网络上的同门也需要站起来？每当师佛站着时，我每
Alright,
次
so I think there's a question about this is a question from one of our fellow disciples online. So I think in the when Grandmaster so in the yeah, so this question is about whether we should stand up, whether fellow disciples should stand up when Grandmaster is saying hi to all the disciples, because Grandmaster will say hi to all disciples from around the world weekly on Zoom. So the question is whether whether fellow disciples should stand up when Grandmaster is standing up. So yes, Master Lianyi is saying that it's better to stand up when Grandmaster is standing up to say hi to all disciples from around the world, because in the 50 stanzas on how to respect your guru, this is also one of them, to stand up when your root guru is standing up. So feel free to leave your questions in the chat box. Or you can just unmute yourself to to clarify your doubts. So yes, I think there is a question. So the question goes, even if we have practiced armor protection, if we go out, let's say into the mountains or the wilderness, what happens? So what happens if we meet extremely powerful spirits when we go out to the mountains or the wilderness? So Master Lianyi is saying that if the cultivator is diligent in his in their cultivation at doing means cultivating every day, cultivating daily, at least once daily, he or she will be able to radiate a kind of a radiant light that will not allow external spirits to disturb oneself. So in Tantrayana, we talk about this power, this Dharma power, which comes from your daily cultivation, your meditation.
不会这么容易冲翻的。因为容易冲翻的人呢，因为他本身可能是在实修方面没有
So excuse me. So if you have this kind of Dharma power, you will not be able to. Yeah. Yeah, so it's extremely important for the cultivators to practice at least once daily to kind of build up this Dharma power, so you will not be disturbed by susceptible to these spirits.
他想问阿弥陀佛，请问上师，护牌能代替披甲护身吗？
护身牌是吗？
对。
那护身
So the
牌
question is whether a protective pendant, so whether is a protective pendant able to replace the Vajra protector? So Master Lianyi's answer is you can't. So you can also wear. Yeah, so you can't just wear a protective pendant and not practice armor protection. Also, it would be best to do both, to wear the protective pendant and also to do the armor protection.
我先提问一个秀宝的疑问，那你可以再做一个翻译的准备。秀宝这边有问，请问上师，护法菩萨的飘带代表什么？
护法什么？请在
护法菩萨的飘带，飘的那个带，
有飘带吗？是那个金刚火吗？它有什么飘带呢？
可能我们请秀宝再留言一下，到底你的飘带是什么意思？那另外呢，这里有莲花义祥就问他是补充的，例如师尊书中提到的有狐仙来找师尊问事，而到了师尊的气，进而维摩诘居士教导师尊修超度法才能解除，他是讲关于这一个。
狐仙呢？狐仙应该不，应该师尊本身他都修行都有这个正量嘛那应该不会到什么气那超度其实狐仙呢，他是来到呢，应该是祈求师尊的超度了，应该是这样子。因为很多灵界呢来找师尊呢，都是有一些目的。因为师尊最近经常做这个签
Sorry, I didn't quite catch the question.
是有这个要师尊超度他了，我觉得是应该是这样。
好，谢谢上师。那请问乐玄助教可以帮忙翻译那个哈蒂尼师姐的提问吗？
联合上师如果有什么等一下也要补充一下联合上师。
好，那不用紧，我们哈蒂尼师姐的可以保留在下一个星期吧。我们这里有莲花燕好，他问请教莲意上师，修法功德回向给家人之后，自己一天都没法坐下修法。那所以请问您的提问是那不好意思，请燕好师姐，可能您在还没打完的话，就麻烦您再写。等一下，我看一下。那没法。
是的，秋英助教你好，秋英助教因为乐仙助教今天是做这个翻译员，所以他只能够在英语频道那边讲出，所以如果要知道他讲的，要去到那个英语翻译那边听他翻译。还是你要听一下，你去听一下他的翻译。
哦，好，我们可以留在下一次吗？
好，就看时间吧。
好的，因为今天也是差不多时间了，我看到这边有几个是印尼文的，那我们就先收集，然后我们就在下一个星期再请。
So we have some questions in Indonesian and also in English. So we will do the necessary translation before we ask Master Lianyi these questions.
那我们也麻烦您可以私下给我们任何一个辅导员，或者是给一才讲师都可以。那我们就在下个星期再帮您提问了。
Yep. So for those questions we did not manage to address today, we will address them in the next lesson. So please stay tuned. So for now, we'll say good. We'll invite Master Lianyi to say goodbye to everyone. So sincere thanks to Grandmaster for radiating light on us such that today's class has gone successfully. Thank you, Master Chengzhu, Chairman Master Chengzhu, Education Director Master Lian Ha, PR Director Master Lian Jia, and Master Lian Fei. Thank you all Master, Senior Reverends, Dharma Instructors, Dharma Assistants, and today's hosts, Chuyin Zujiao, and today's interpreters, and all fellow disciples who attended today. Thank you everyone. Amidaba. We'll see you all next week.
谢谢联合上师、联家上师、联飞上师、各位上师、教授师、法师、讲师、助教。今天的课程圆满结束，也谢谢线上 Zoom。
So thank you all masters, senior reverends, Dharma instructors, Dharma assistants, and all fellow disciples. Today's lesson has successfully come to an end. So thank you all who has joined us on Zoom and YouTube. So see everyone next week. Thank you all.
大家阿弥陀佛，
大家
大家，
谢谢大家，
谢谢联合上师，
拜拜
联合上师，谢谢诸位助教，阿弥陀佛，拜拜，
拜拜。